Once upon a time, Lions fans were absolutely adamant that they just wanted a winning team and they wanted to have success. But now that the Lions fans have it, there now seems to be an even higher expectation, and it's leaving the Lions between a rock and a hard place. We're going to talk about it, so stay tuned.
What are we? What makes us what we are and what we're going to be? It's grit. It's what we started with last year, guys. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and three toes. I will beat your ass.
Can definitely compete with the big dogs.
10-5 end zone touchdown Detroit Lions.
You guys are unbelievable, man. I'm telling you.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello, Detroit Lions friends, fans, and family members. Welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving on in. Folks, this is going to be a bit of a difficult episode for me. And the reason why is because I love my Detroit Lions, and I love all the Lions, faithful, all the brothers and sisters. But it seems to me that we have kind of come to this injunction, if you will, where Lions fans are on one road and the Lions themselves are closely adjoined to that road, but they're, kind of going somewhere else. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, as everybody knows, the Lions faithful, they want to win. They want a Super Bowl. They want it badly. And it's not just the Lions faithful. It's also the Lions themselves. They want to win. They badly want to win. However, though, the divide, the disconnect, if you will, between those two, shared goals is that it seems that there is a growing majority of Lions fans that want the Lions to simply just go all out this year, to sell the farm, mortgage the house, throw out the baby in the bathwater, to win the Super Bowl this year. Whereas what Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, Sheila, and all the rest of them are trying to do, Chris Spielman, Mike Disner, whoever else you want to throw in there, they're trying to win not only this year, but long term, maintain the longevity of the roster, and that's where this disconnect, this divide seems to be growing and getting wider every single day. Now, what makes this situation so difficult and vexing for me is that, us Lions fans, we want to talk about how successful the team has been over the last couple of years. We've won 2 division titles. We've won 2 playoff games. We got to the NFC Conference Championship game. We were a whisker away from getting to the Super Bowl. And everybody talks about that. But as much as it pains me to say this, it seems now that some Lions fans have forgotten just how bad things were only a few years ago. Or if they haven't forgotten it, rather what they've done is they have misdirected their focus and understanding of the past events, and they have now turned it into like this cancer that they will do anything to be immediately rid of. And to me, it's like, okay, I understand 100% that Lions fans want to be able to say, yes, we finally won a Super Bowl. We got that monkey off our backs. We can say that we're champions. We can say that we've got a Super Bowl win. And trust me, I understand that 110%. I really do. But the problem is that the only thing is that effective and sustainable growth is not achieved by this methodology. You cannot just be like, damn the torpedoes, full steam ahead. We're going to do anything, everything that is possible to get what we want right now. That right there is called shortcutting. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Anytime that someone looks and takes a shortcut when it comes to things like this, doesn't have to necessarily be football. It can be anything in life. It can be business, can be education, it can be anything you want to talk about. It usually results in bad long-term results. I'm just going to, play, I guess in one way here, kind of like a life counselor for a brief moment. Reflect on your own life for a brief moment, or just life in general. Nobody has ever learned how to walk after taking one step. It never happens. What happens? Whenever you see a baby that is trying to walk, they have to take multiple times of steps, multiple falls, multiple times before they learn how to take that first step, and then that second step, that third step, that fourth step. It takes time. It takes effort. And then once you learn how to walk, you have to learn how to jog, learn how to run. It takes time. It's not something that just happens instantaneously. And for those that it does, it's a very, very rare, almost impossible occurrence to actually note. Because I can never recall any time that a baby ever came out of the womb and started walking around. That just does not happen. The best way I can put this, in another way, is for those that understand history, consider Thomas Edison and his famous statement about the light bulb. Go back, if you will, look online, whatever, but the basic quote is that when Thomas Edison finally figured out how to make a light bulb work, he was asked the question of how it felt to fail 10,000 times to create a light bulb. Edison responded by saying, I didn't fail 10,000 times, I just found 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb. Understand that quote. The quote shows at least three things. It shows persistence, it shows patience, and it shows perspective. Persistence in that Edison continued to try and get to where he wanted to go despite the thousands of failures that he had. The patience of not being discouraged from that failure, saying, yes, I will eventually get there. I just have to keep working. And then the perspective, taking all of those failures and then turning it into something else. Thomas Edison didn't say, oh, well, yeah, I failed 10,000 times. He's like, no, I just found 10,000 ways not to make a light bulb. I'm just going to put this out there for y'all. You think Edison didn't come close several times before mastering one of the greatest creations that man has ever known? It's an interesting question. But the point of the matter is this. When you're trying to achieve something, there is going to be a good amount of experiencing of failure and near close successes. Because again, it's very, very seldom you're ever going to get it on the first couple of goes. Very even more seldom that you're going to get it on the first go. But my whole point is this. You can't abandon the process that got you to where you are because you simply just didn't get the result you wanted. Because think about it this way. Had every person that has ever invented some of the things that we take for granted in life, cars, light bulbs, computers, I mean, you think about it. If everybody had that same mindset, we'd still probably be in the damn dark ages. The same thing applies here with the Lions. It's like, listen, Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have kept the process that they've been using because it works. You cannot say it doesn't work when you've gone from 3-13-1 to 9-8 to 12-5 to 15-2. That is continual, steady progress. To just about anybody else on the planet, that would be good progress. That would show, hey, what you're doing is working. But to Lions fans, It doesn't matter that we've gotten better every single year. It doesn't matter that we've gotten more wins. It doesn't matter that we've now had playoff victories. It doesn't matter that we have division titles. It doesn't matter that we got a 1 seed this year. All that matters is, do we have a Lombardi trophy? And you know what? I understand that's the ultimate goal. And I understand that's how teams are measured and ranked by success. But if you're going to just base that totally as the only measure and completely forget about the journey that got you there, you're missing out on quite a lot of stuff that kind of goes between point A to point B. There's a whole hell of a lot of stuff that goes in the middle there. And this again reminds me of a very famous movie quote. I can guarantee you most everybody's heard about it now, because ever since the movie came out, this quote has been used in a lot of different aspects. But I'm going to use it here to, again, drive home the point. It was done by Rocky. Remember when Rocky said to his son, he says, "It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done." Think about it, folks. The Lions have taken their fair share of shots. They've taken their fair share of abuse. They've taken their fair share of hits. But yet they've never once shied away from the process. They've never once shied away from continuing to do what they know to be right. And when I think about that, that makes me self-reflect upon myself as a fan, as a podcaster even. Us fans think that we have the worst of it in terms of frustration and disappointment and not winning the last 2 years. Or if you want to even be a much broader case than that, ever since the last championship we had in what was it, 57, 58? When we know that the last 2 years in particular, we could have won both times. We had the team, we had the structure, we had the organization, we had the mindset, we had the culture, we had everything we needed. But I'm going to just put this out there right now. That thinking is completely selfish, and it's absolutely wrong. The guys and people that suffer the most from that disappointment that I'm talking about, from that frustration that I'm referring to, are the players, the coaches, the front office, and the ownership. All of the time, all of the money, the effort, the training, and of course the anticipation that has been wasted over the last 2 years of, again, not getting to, failing to reach that ultimate goal and not fulfilling it. Yet I want to put something else into perspective here for everybody. Have you ever noticed the players, the coaches, the ownership ever once, pointing fingers, ever once, saying, "Oh, you know what? I just give up. I quit. I'm not going to keep doing this"? No. The players, despite all of that frustration, all of that disappointment, they keep coming back and they keep putting in the hard work. And their coaches devote countless hours to training, strategizing, game planning, because they are persistent in their desire to win. And yet, again, like I said, despite all of this, I've never once seen the players turn on each other. I've never seen the coaches turn on each other or turn on the players, or the players vice versa on the coaches. They don't associate blame for losing to anybody but themselves. Think about it. Anytime the Lions have lost a big game, Campbell always says it was my fault. I didn't have the team ready. I didn't have the team prepared. Anytime Goff has had a bad game, he's like, "Hey, you know what? I just didn't read the field right. I didn't do my job right. I just need to work harder." Every single time, they take full ownership of falling short. They don't blame other people. They blame themselves. But us fans, especially those who are the most boisterous, the most negative, the most, just, "Oh, well, if I don't get what I want, I'm just going to point the finger." They can't help but easily find problems. They can't help but find the scapegoats. They can't help but play the blame game. And you know what? I'm not innocent in this. I've done it myself. But the older I've gotten and the more I've watched, I've been like, you know what? Am I the one that's on the field? Am I the one that's making the decisions? Am I the one that's cashing the checks? No, I'm not. I'm just a devoted, diehard fan who is viewing, who is taking in all the information that has been given to me, and I'm expressing my opinion about it. And you know what? Expressing your opinion is fine. I serve a government that is there in a military that makes sure you have an opinion to use. But you know what? There comes a fine line between, hey, I have an opinion, I have a criticism, to then you go to, okay, I'm not only going to just make a, statement about how I'm not happy about this, or I'm going to question something. You now take that criticism and you start blaming people. You start saying that you're no longer going to support the team. You start making those idle threats. At that point, then, now you've stepped into something else. Now you've stepped into a world of arrogance. And I hate using that word, but it's true because it's like, wait a minute here. Has any one of us ran a football team like the Detroit Lions? Has any one of us been an owner of a team, been a GM, been a professional football player? I'd be willing to bet you this. Very, very, very few people would fall into that category. It would be absolutely ridiculous how small that group would be. This then brings me to the second part of Rocky's quote that he talked about to his son. Because the next part about all that quote is the one that I think is really important in this point. Rocky said this next to his son. He said, "You've got to be willing to take the hits and not pointing fingers saying you ain't where you want to be because of him or her or anybody. Cowards do that, and that ain't you. You're better than that." Folks, all my Lions faithful, all of my fans that are also Lions fans, like I said in the very beginning, I love this team. I've been a fan ever since I was a little boy, 6 years old. And I know I've got fans out there that have been, following this team for 40, 50, some 60 years. And I love every one of all of them, Lions fans and brothers. But I have a question. When did we become so afraid that we are now determined to blame those that got us as far as we have gotten because we didn't get what we wanted when they're the ones that are busting their asses? Think about it. The only thing that us Lions fans do is we buy the tickets, we support the team, and we buy merchandise. Yeah, we give them our money, but think about it. Who's the one that's actually putting in the damn work? That's the players. That's the coaches. That's the organization. They're the ones that are busting their asses, losing sleep, pushing their bodies and spirits to the breaking point, and spending precious time away from their families, all to make sure they can bring us joy and entertainment. So think about it here. Who's really getting the crappy end of the deal? It sure as hell ain't us. All we're losing is some money that we decided freely to part with. The ones that are actually losing the most out of this are the ones that continually show up, do their job, and still, when they don't get the result that the fans want, they're the ones that get berated. They're the ones that get tore down. Think about that. Rather than us Lions fans being thankful for all that we have accomplished so very quickly. Again, think about it. It was only 4 years ago when Holmes and Campbell started taking over the team. And in 4 years, we went from being a 3-13-1 in laugh stock. Now we're 15-2, and we're a Super Bowl contender. To do that in 4 years is damn mind-boggling. But like I said, rather than being thankful for everything that we've accomplished so quickly, or that the team has accomplished so quickly, we instead tear down, and like I said, some make idle threats of abandoning the team if they don't do what they get or what they want them to do. Such as is this case, making a trade for Trey Hendrickson. Such as making a acquisition of Zadarius Smith. Such as drafting this player, signing that player. I'm going to tell you something right now that should be very self-evident. And I'm not saying this to be a smartass. I'm not saying this to be, I know more than you. But I do know this. the Lions themselves, they want to win more than you or me or any other fan that's out there because they want to win for everybody. They want to win for themselves. They want to win for the fans. They want to win for everybody. And they want to win repeatedly. They don't want to win just 1 year. They want to win 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. So I'm just going to simply say this. Have us Lions fans kind of become numb to the whole situation? Do we kind of expect it now? Some of us honestly do. And it's the wrong mindset to have. When you take a look at everything that the Lions have done up until this point, there should be much more appreciation and gratitude for what the Lions have been able to accomplish rather than the absolute degradation and absolute anger and frustration that us Lions fans give them. We've come this damn close last 2 years. The determination, persistence, patience, that is all going to pay off. I guarantee you. That's what Holmes and Campbell have been preaching ever since they got here. If you work hard, if you do the right things, we are going to get there. The players have bought into it. They keep coming back and they keep going to work. I guarantee you it's going to happen. It may even happen this year. I fully believe that it can, and I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't. Because I believe that the Lions are on the precipice of achieving it. They have everything that they need. They have the culture, they have the team, they have the coaches, they have the mindset. They've got it all. It's just all putting it together. So for me, I'm going to say this. Rather than tearing them down because they're not doing what you're wanting them to do right this minute, why not continue to trust them because they're the ones that got us to where we are in the first place? Again, you have to be trusting of the person that got you where you are. You can't get mad at the person that brought you to the dance because, oh, well, now I don't like what you're doing. But they're the ones that brought us here. Would you rather us go back to Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn? Would you rather us go back to Matt Millen and Rod Marinelli? I wouldn't. I like where we're at right now. So yeah, we failed the last 2 years. But failure isn't permanent. Failure is not a defining trait or characteristic that you can't shake off. Because, FYI, people fail every day. Could be big, could be small. I know I do. But failure does not define me. It's not a permanent asset. Because once you fail, typically you get another chance to try again. And then again after that, until eventually you either do one of two things. You either quit and give up, or you actually succeed. Well, the Lions aren't giving up, so I'm not giving up. I believe they're going to succeed. So, anyway, folks, not at all a fun episode for me to record. But again, as I've said before in the past, I'm never going to be afraid to talk about the truth. I'm never going to be afraid to take on hard topics, because that's what I do. So, having said that, I'm going to end this episode and say thank you all for watching yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, I highly encourage y'all, please make sure you do one of these 3 things. Like, comment, and subscribe. If by chance you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, I also want to encourage y'all, please make sure you hit that bell notification icon. If by chance you also want to do so, you can share this content on any place that you have access to, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Twitter, whether it's Facebook, whatever the case might be. And with that, I just want to say, I hope you all got something out of it. I hope it all gave you guys something to think about. I really do. That's my entire intent with these videos. Whether it's your first time watching me or you guys have been watching me forever and a day. Also hope you all have something in your life that makes you happy, makes you smile. God bless, my friends. And until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.